Hi, my name's Mike, and if you're sitting there watching this tape smoking your cigarette, well, hit the fast forward button, because I don't smoke and I don't like people who do smoke.
I'm not afraid to get sand on my tuxedo if you're not afraid to let the wind mess your hair up a little bit when I take the top down.
Perhaps even a nice bath with some champagne and candles.
Hi, Mom.
I do fashion photography, and I do consider myself a refined valley dude.
Okay, I'm looking for a trendy girl with a simple smile. Wait, it says here, oh, excuse me.
Whoso binds to himself a joy, doth its winged life destroy.
That's a classic.
Am I on the right show? What was that?
It's one of those weird videos. Dating's really come a long way, I'm told. I don't know. I haven't been in the dating game for like 30 years.
I feel like we saw a young Kirk in that video, but I can't be sure. I'll have to go back and double check.
I'm sure I'd be equally as awkward as any of those guys, if not more. I like the Dusseth Giveth. I like that guy the most. Welcome in, everybody, to a Monday edition, Monday Energy of the DNBA show. I'm Adam Mattes. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague, D-Line Co.
What's up, guys? Just to be clear, I'm not available, but if you guys want me to go down and have a list of my traits, I'll happily do it.
I would like to hear some of these traits. Maybe next time, though. Maybe next time.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay. Then I'm also joined by my esteemed colleague, Brennan Vogt.
I'm just glad the Peloton Prince isn't here. He would be stealing all of our hypothetical women.
That's so true. So. He would make a banger of a dating video.
That's
for
true.
sure.
He really would.
I bet the Tinder profile was just on point back in the day. Today, guys, we are just presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, where you can...
I wasn't sure.
I wasn't sure. I thought you were gonna sneeze. I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
We didn't rehearse that.
We didn't rehearse. We probably should have rehearsed that. You can use promo code DNVR. Of course, it lets them know. Well, I hit the button there. It lets them know that we sent you. You also get hooked up with all kinds of cool deals, up to $1,000 in matching bonuses. Today we are joined by Ryder for the Step Back. Just did a great piece. Actually, my old gig. You guys know I used to write for the Step Back for a very brief period of time. And he just wrote a very good piece on Jamal Murray. Some hype. We're welcoming in. It's Jackson Frank. Jackson, welcome into the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for having
Excited to have you here. And we're excited too because there
interested
is increasingly more and more to talk about with the Denver Nuggets. Some good, some bad, some nervous, some exciting. But guys, basketball returns. We're going to watch the Denver Nuggets play a basketball game today, or watch a bunch of NBA teams. Jackson, I'm going to start with you. How many NBA games do you predict you will watch this week?
This week, I would probably set the over/under at 7.
Okay.
I think that may be maybe a little lofty, but my goal is to at least get eyes on 40-30% of a lot of these different games going on. I don't know if I'm going to watch the entirety of these scrimmages, but all the way through. But watch a bunch of different ones and see kind of what's going on, how guys look.
How much of Summer League would you watch? Because to me, those games are like super compelling for about 3 minutes each game.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was kind of the same format as, you bounce around, you watch it, the number 4 overall pick play for 8 minutes, then you get subbed out, and you go over and find a different game that's going on with a high profile rookie or someone you're interested. So, it tapered off. Once they got to the tournament and teams were really taking it seriously, it was just kind of the teams with the most NBA level talent. I didn't watch a ton of it, but early on those first few days, I'm probably watching a few hours a day, 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours maybe.
Yeah. What about you, Vogt? Are you there's 2 Nuggets games, so what is the line for you over under of preseason games you're going to watch this week?
Total, I'll say 4 or 5. I'm probably shooting for.
I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited to watch them.
I want to learn what to watch for. So, like, from the Nuggets' perspective, I kind of know, all right, I might get to see some Bol Bol, maybe a heavy dose of PJ Dozier. I really want to make sure I'm reading all these primers around the different beats, the different teams that'll be at the bubble, because, I'm sure I could hit up Caitlin Cooper's profile right now and find something on Indy, but I just want to know what specifically to watch for, because I don't think this will just be, the best players balling out.
Yeah. But there's a lot, like you said, there are a lot of just interesting players that you get to see. And like Bol Bol, of course, we've been talking about him now for an entire week because the entire Denver Nuggets organization and all of the players are starting to talk about him. You don't get to see him usually. I might be more excited to watch Bol Bol than I would be to watch a regular season game with like the Nuggets we've already seen a whole lot of.
Such summer league energy. I love it.
Remember the hype we had last week? I think I was a 10 out of 10 for Bol. I think it has actually somehow gone up. It is now higher. I am more excited about Bol Bol now than I was last Friday after shotgunning 2 beers.
Well, I don't want to bury the
Holy
lead, but did
smokes.
you? I'm sure it's because you saw the video today, right?
Is there a video?
Oh, there's a video.
There's a video of Bol Bol playing basketball.
Have you seen it?
I
That's
haven't
pretty
seen
good.
it. Wow, let me see.
Producer,
Let's
Caleb
see, maybe.
/guy.
Wow, look at
Oh
that.
wow!
producing.
All
Can you make
righty.
it,
What is
can you
this
make
one?
it full screen? Producer
Yeah.
Caleb
Oh yeah.
guy?
Zoom in there. People are complaining. Wow, that looks like a really skinny guy. Is that Porzingis? That just.
Shoddy camera crew.
Yeah, there it is.
Wow,
All
look
right,
at this. Oh no, that's Nikola Jokic.
wow.
And
My
that
goodness.
is, oh my goodness.
My
Is that a layup?
Foul, by the way, foul.
All right, I have to start. Yeah, foul. I have to start. There's so many different things. Keep playing that on a loop, there, guy. Yeah, we're not. Yeah, just keep going. All right, first note here, Jackson. I'm telling you, we got bored of Jokic because we saw him so much. But these types of passes, he does a full 360 off that handle, like throws the blind pass. I know for Jokic this is just another day, but we haven't seen it in so long. I got hyped just for the pass.
Yeah, no, I mean, doing all that work on Jamal Murray, watching those games, I hadn't watched a ton of NBA basketball in a while, so the first few Jokic passes, you're like, oh wow, like this is,
Yeah.
you just kind of remember, and then by the third quarter, when you've thrown 8 of them in 26 minutes, you're like, you're just kind of like, that's who he is. You just kind of remember, but yeah, that type of stuff. There's very few players and very few centers in NBA history who could do something like that.
Yeah, you take that pass for granted, don't you? If
Yeah,
it's
and
as
I
much
also
as
just
Jokic
love
wrong.
like. So Jokic just also has a little pep in his step, like I mean he's playing a little quick. He's playing like I know this is so stupid because it's a 2-second clip, but he's playing at like a nice pace. I'm not
Some
kidding.
4-on-4, he looks good.
I'm serious. Jokic is so slow and methodical, and over here he's kind of working. But of course, the highlight of this is that Bol Bol takes it. Can you pause it at the top of this jump, guy? Let's see how good you are with the pause button.
Let's find out. It's
He
so
takes
far
yeah.
not
Let's
so good.
see. Let's see. This is actually a fun little game show.
Okay, ready?
All the way at the top. Can
Pause
we
it
get
now.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's well
Look
done.
at that.
That's
Look
very
at that.
impressive.
My
Yeah, that's a little
God.
ridiculous.
All right,
So
Eric.
that's over the square. What do you call that? The square on the backboard. Does it have a name?
I think it's the square.
Okay. Over the square. Very admirable contest by Troy Daniels.
Yeah, he's playing the Brandon Knight role to this DeAndre Jordan.
I do believe that he is at his apex while attempting to block this shot. He is a good 2 to 3
position.
feet off.
Got there early.
Honestly, Troy Daniels is kind of up there. I mean, that's a pretty good elevation
Oh
for
my
Troy
god!
Daniels.
If I ever got my hand over a basketball rim that wasn't less than 6 feet from the floor, I would be very pleased. But the greatest part is that Bol Bol completes the Blake Griffin style dunk where he doesn't actually
right.
slam it,
Drops
just
it in.
throws it
Throws
from some distance and it goes in. It still counts as a dunk.
I'm just marveling at the difference in where their waistlands are. Bol Bol's is at Troy Daniels' sternum.
Yeah.
And Troy Daniels is like at Bol Bol's mid-thigh, basically.
And
should
you know what
see
the
him in
crazy
real
thing is
life.
that if you
It's
look
at
at
my
the
eye line.
if you look at the ground, like Bol Bol's not that far off the ground. Also, like
Yeah, I know. He just.
Dude, he is absolutely incredible, man. It is funny because he's so big that I do think he's going to catch some guys just like he caught Troy Daniels here, where it's like, okay, he's on the ground, he's not that high, but as soon as he just puts his hand up, he's got the Boban thing. This is a great highlight. A sneaky, not great part of this highlight, though. I don't know if you noticed, the Nuggets are playing 4-on-4, and actually in every single clip today that we have, they're playing 4-on-4 because clearly they don't have enough guys, which is kind of sad. There was a lot of dunks, but of course there's dunks. There's not a fifth defender on the court. There's like
I mean, they don't have 2 full teams, but they have enough guys. You only need to have 5 on the court at any given time.
yeah.
But coupled with what we heard from Malone about 9 active players going into this first.
Oh wait,
scrimmage,
is
right?
there more?
More.
Well, let's see what he does here.
I'm
Oh
not
my
gonna
God.
lie. I would hope he finishes this one over Jamal Murray in the 4-on-4 setting. But this is where I get all kinds of excitement.
Adam, what are your
Oh
thoughts
my
on Jokic's attempt to get around that screen?
It's Get some preseason effort here. Let me see. I actually wasn't even paying attention. I was so mesmerized by Bol
I mean, this
Bol
pass
here.
is like.
Okay, not
Well, here's what's funny. So we actually, do you guys remember in the Utah game earlier, or was it last year, the Jokic Plumlee 5-4 pick and roll? Well, that's essentially what that was. Now, again, I know it's 4-on-4, it's like half speed or whatever, but
stop pumping the brakes on this. Let's
all
go
right,
full
you know
speed.
what?
I
I'm
thought
not
you were
pumping the
at
brakes.
an
This is
11.
a 5-5 pick and roll with a left-handed, one-handed pass. Jackson, you didn't know he had that in his bag, did you? The one-handed left.
I did
scoop.
not know that passing was not something he showed a lot of in college. So that was a very impressive play.
I'm also pretty sure he literally had 0 assists at the G League. So
Yeah, right.
it's an encouraging sign.
You know, he might be one of those players, though. I mean, again, we were getting way ahead of ourselves here.
No,
but
stop
we've seen
pumping the brakes, goddammit.
We've seen so little of Bol Bol, and he's played so little. I mean, it's like Michael Porter Jr. last year that what has he been able to do other than sit at the bench and just kind of watch other guys practice and work out? And who better to watch than Nikola Jokic? All I'm saying is he spent 2 weeks with Jokic. Actually, 1 week with Jokic, and here we have a one-handed, left-handed pass.
Unbelievable. Wow.
Unbelievable.
The brightest timeline for Bol Bol's development here in Denver.
It's
Soak
kind
it
of.
in.
Do we have any other highlights there, guy queued up at Bol Bol? Both of these are fantastic. But
We
I've
could
seen
watch
them
this
now.
one again.
I could see this one again. Look at how he doesn't even barely jump to dunk, and then he pulls
Let's
himself
just,
up, which
let's
was
just all be
unnecessary.
quiet and watch this same clip for an hour or so.
That's great TV.
We need to cut the brakes graphic. I agree.
So
Do we
1
have
week
another
with
one, guy?
Jokic.
Are you looking for
On
another
that
one here?
pass.
What's that?
2 years from now, he might be the best passing big man ever. It might take Jokic's crown at this rate.
Oh,
So
wow.
This is what we're saying.
I would accept it. You know what? My love for Bol Bol is so immense. Guy, I don't know if I have to say this again. Do we have another?
Not that I know, but we do have some Nikola Jokic dunking highlights.
Yeah,
All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look at that one. That's a thing
Let's
that
do it.
happened also. Yeah, Jokic is looking thin though, guys. Like, he does look great. Let's see here. Where is
Well,
he?
this is
this
Bol
is a
Bol
three-pointer
giveth and
highlight.
Bol Bol
Oh no, it's a
taketh
shot
away.
fake.
So the Serbian blur, as Dave DeFore called him.
This is actually low-key an impressive highlight for Jokic, and I know it's kind of lame, but he really doesn't have a ton of those types of dunks. I know that first of
He
all,
didn't formerly.
very formerly correct. I know it's Bol Bol's help side here, not exactly the most
Great
impressive
closeout
rim
from
protection.
Mason.
Like okay,
Noah
whatever.
Vonleh
But
with the very clear foul on Bol Bol. Just grabbing his arm and not allowing him to contest the shot. Look at this.
Our
Just
own Harrison Wynn said
straight
this
up.
is straight out of his rookie season bag here.
it kind of is. Yeah.
He did
Jackson,
used to
is
play a
this
little
something
like
or nothing? Just seeing, I know it's just practice, but is this something or nothing? Seeing him just kind of move like this.
yeah, I think it's relatively something. It's a lot quicker than he's generally
relatively
moved.
something.
I mean,
not-
it's
it's
all
not
comparative. I mean, by
Yeah.
definition, it's something. I don't know how much you want to make out of it, but yeah, it's a lot quicker than he tends to move. It seems at least.
These pickup games are absolutely hilarious because you've got, I mean, Vonleh on the court, you've got Jokic, Plumlee, and who else down there? Bol. Like there's
Troy Daniels, Tyler Cook, all the full bench mob.
To me,
and
this is
Millsap. My God, there are 4 centers and a power forward on the court for this 4-on-4 scrimmage. Like, what are the Nuggets doing right now? You can go ahead and cut that one, guy. You can take
That's
that
a
one off the
10-second
screen here.
video about Noah Vonleh's arms. I just want to make sure we're clear.
But it does bring us to one of our main topics today. We're going to get to Jamal Murray here in the second topic, but one of our main topics, which is that just like we did with Jokic exactly 1 week ago, why isn't he here? We heard he was on en route. We heard all these things. The Nuggets are now 2 weeks. They've been in the bubble for 2 weeks, and we know that there's 10 players there. Michael Malone mentioned that there were 9 players available. Some people on the internet did some sleuth work and determined that out of all the clips today, Will Barton was not present in any of them. Speculate away if maybe he's, for whatever reason, not available to play. But the Nuggets only have 9 guys. They can't even practice 5-on-5. Jackson, I know you know there's a handful of teams that have been dealing with different players still not in the bubble or whatever, but it seems like with Denver, 2 weeks in and have yet to be able to go 5-on-5. Do you think this puts them kind of behind the 8 ball?
I think a little bit, but there's just so much time until these games really matter for the Nuggets. At least, I mean, they're not. I know they're kind of in a tight race with seeding, but they're not a team they're not battling for the 8th seed or anything like that.
Right,
so
right.
They're pretty. I feel like a pretty good lock to have at least home court advantage, and obviously, ideally, you'd want to avoid playing that 1 seed or ever and not drop down to 4. But obviously, both LA teams are really impressive, and it's not guaranteed that the Clippers lock up that 2 seed, but I think there's enough time. So for them, I wouldn't be a huge worry. But if we're talking in 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks from now, and they're still getting guys back reintegrated, then it's a different story. But for now, the playoffs and the really important rounds, I think, for them are a little ways off. And
Yeah.
I guess maybe the first round could be challenging again for them, but there's still enough time even before that they should be okay,
Yeah.
I think.
Stop worrying, Adam. Why are you worrying?
Well, I am officially worried. Maybe I'm just a worrier. But no, I am because they do have games. It's kind of funny. Somebody put this out. I think it was Ryan Blackburn last night at Denver Stiff said, we're 2 weeks away from the start of the season and 4 from the playoffs. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. The season is so short and so condensed that the actual regular season is going to go by so fast. Once there's games every other night, I mean, it's going to be a blur. So I think so. Is there a time, Brendan, where you will look at it? I mean, if they're not here by Friday, if they're still missing multiple rotation players, I mean, at that point, are you gonna be a little concerned?
Yeah, I think you have to be. I mean, I don't want to worry too much about missing out on these scrimmages or games 1 and 2 in these 8 seeds, in these 8 seeding games. It all matters, but I just don't know how well-oiled of a machine anyone's going to be at that point, you know, and it's just going to sort of be a clunky acceleration ramp onto the highway for all of these teams. So it's less than ideal that Denver can't hit the ground running, but maybe, here's a real stretch, a silver lining to this is Michael Malone says, hey, I'm going to relax on a lot of the play calling, and I'm going to let these guys do what they do best. Specifically, he does best in Jokic, and that's make live reads. And they can just sort of fall even more into Jokic ball, given that they just don't really have a lot of time to be this perfect Spursian organism.
I think that's kind of a lock. I honestly think that's going to be a lock that comes out of this, is that Denver's going to be forced to play free. Now, I don't know if that's going to equate to wins early on because the lineups are going to be absolutely ridiculous, but I do expect some free-flowing basketball, and I've always said I think Jokic is supreme at playing that style. Sorry, my daughters are talking to me here. All right, let's move in, though. I want to talk to Jackson now because about the article about Jamal Murray, and I want to start it off by saying we spoke with Murray early today. The Nuggets had morning practice today, and one of the things Jamal Murray brought up was that he is up to 216 pounds. I believe he plays around 205, so he's up maybe 10 pounds. He looks a little beefy. I can't say I noticed like a ton of weight, but he looks a little beefier. He's got his guns are starting to fill in a little bit. All right. He said specifically one of the points of emphasis for him over the last couple months and in training camp especially was trying to get to the rim, initiate contact, and try to get to the foul line more, which is kind of music to my ears. I mean, a lot of people think about analytics, they think three-point shooting. Getting to the line, that's something Jamal Murray could really improve. Just knowing that, Jax, I know you weren't on that call today, but knowing that he is looking to gain more muscle mass and use his size more, what do you make of that development to his game?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting approach because obviously I think one of his biggest issues, and has been since he's entered career or entered the NBA, is he just doesn't have a lot of burst. He's not a guy who's going to blow by defenders and get all the way to the rim. Obviously, he benefits from playing with someone like Jokic, and he's so good on kind of those baseline cuts, or those cuts from the top of the key. But I think it's interesting. I like the emphasis on trying to draw more fouls and be more willing to get to the rim, because I do think he is someone who has a tendency to settle. Obviously, he's become a very good shooter in a variety of ways over the last couple of years. But like you said, yeah, the easiest shots tend to come at the rim or at the foul line when nobody can guard you. So even if they're more valuable shots, like wide open three-pointer, you got to be able to diversify it to become a really, really good scorer, like I think a lot of people anticipate Murray developing into. And he's taken strides, as we all know. But I think it's a good thing to acknowledge and emphasize. I just don't necessarily know if adding more muscle and adding more weight to a frame that already has some acceleration issues is the way to go about it. But that's very much an amateur opinion. He and those who are working with him know a lot more. So yeah. I don't want to be too critical.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think? Because I know one of the things in your article, you were talking a lot about pull-up shooting, which we here have talked a lot about. He's not quite the pull-up three-point shooter that the elite, the top-level sort of point guards in the league are. Do you think he is more likely to become an elite sort of in the paint guy, in the restricted area guard, or an elite behind the three-point line off the dribble guard? Which one do you think he's more closer to becoming?
I would say right now he seems closer to being a better in the paint guy. Like I know his numbers have kind of oscillated. Like sometimes he's been a good floater guy, sometimes he's been good at the actual rim. So I think that at least kind of that variance from year to year bodes well for in 3 years you can kind of get both of them down.
Yeah.
But I think more important would be to get that pull-up shooting down. Because it's weird, because he's obviously not necessarily a guy who's short on confidence. He'll take tough shots. elbows or from kind of the wings and whatnot inside the arc, but he just doesn't quite always let it fly from deep. Right. But I think the willingness to shoot a lot of tough shots and pull up jumpers at a young age is encouraging. I think, ideally you can just kind of tinker the way that he's taking them and the manner in which he's shooting off the dribble. So I think right now he's closer to at the rim, but I would say long term, I'd expect him to be a better pull-up shooter than some elite guard finisher.
What do you mean by that? The way he gets in the shot? Is it mechanics? Is it footwork, in your opinion? Like the way he sort of comes off the screen?
Yeah, I think one of the things I mentioned, and obviously this is a really lofty comparison, but you watch a guy like Damian Lillard, who they run a lot of high ball screen in Portland for him, and he is so quick with that trigger right at the top of the key or well beyond it. And Murray, his kind of first instinct more when he's running that two-man game with Jokic is to take a couple dribbles right around the free throw line, whether it's on the elbow or right there, and either look to Jokic on the roll or the pop, or take a kind of a tough pull-up jumper with the defender on his hip or on his back. And some of that, I think, is, Denver doesn't run a lot of really high ball screens. Yeah. A lot of it starts around the top of the key. So some of that is schematic. But, it's just a better or a more willing to shoot right off the top of the key, one dribble rather than 6 or 7, because he's a guy who likes to kind of process things and get to his rhythm spots. Obviously, most scorers are rhythm-based, but I think Murray even more so is someone who has his preferred spots on the floor and just isn't quite comfortable from the top of the key as a three-point guy or the wings. Really likes to get to his spots, and he's good at them. So it's not necessarily a huge issue, but to really become that perimeter scorer, I think Denver needs to take the next step with Jokic. It's letting it fly more often from behind the 3-point line.
I definitely agree his instinct is to probe and dance. And I think one of the key words for me is decisiveness. So maybe it's that pull-up three or putting his head down and getting to the rim, with some intentionality and direction, right? And in a little less proby fashion. And that's, the free throw thing. He's such a good free throw shooter. This is a guy who has a really tough layup package. He has really good footwork for a guard in the post. He's just added some weight. I mean, this is a guy who can do damage in the paint. But whether it's pull-up three or paint, for me, it just has to be a little more decisive and less dancey, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like this is the moment in the Jamal Murray documentary where they talk about how he went and he dedicated the offseason to getting his body stronger to take on the Detroit Pistons. And then he comes back out he's able to take the league over. We're ready.
Oh, good. I was worried you were going to overhype this, so I'm glad you really kept it grounded.
Right. Yeah. This reminds me of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
No, I didn't say that. You said that. I'm saying this is what Jamal Murray's doing.
Yeah. Do you, Eric, from your perspective, what would you prefer? Like, Jamal Murray has some great posters. I mean, some really good dunks. I don't consider him a great dunker, but it does seem like he has some really loud dunks. Yeah. Do you like Murray, the attacking point guard that's just like an in-your-face attacking guys, or do you like Murray, the like 3-point, always chucking threes?
I like aggressive Jamal Murray. I like step on your throat, like shoot a blue arrow through your throat. Jamal Murray wants to like put it on your team and like wants you to know that. I mean, he's like a jerk when he wants to be. Like he totally like he can play passively or he can play like FU ball. And when Jamal Murray gets playing FU ball, like I'm so in. I just need more FU out of Jamal Murray, and I think he's probably put 5 to 10 pounds of FU in his shoulders. So I'm ready for it.
Yeah. There's the poster on Bol Bol.
Yeah, that's why he's such a fascinating player. You talk about that aggressiveness and that FU mentality. He's so not necessarily. I mean, I know inconsistent is such an easy word to use, but it's not inconsistent. It's just he doesn't always apply that aggressiveness, and you think it's so interesting. Like it would be not easy, but one of the low-hanging fruit things to just like, hey Jamal, let's get you shooting more threes. Like just be more like you have the green light from us. Like you're our best perimeter creator. This part, you and Barton. Like just fire more off that pick. Just do it because he's not someone who just takes a bunch of open shots. He's not someone who's super conservative with the pass all the time. Obviously, I know he used to be a little more conservative as a passer, but in shooter. But like nowadays, he's pretty confident he wants to be. So it's just interesting that it doesn't always rear its head when I think it would benefit him and the team a fair amount.
He always shoots like difficult shots for like no good reason. Like he creates difficult shots because like I think it's just like more fun for him. It like keeps him engaged.
I think he is a difficult shot taker. Like he's very comfortable with some of those shots, and he's above average at them. I do think that's a slippery slope, right? Because you don't want to take too many, but he definitely is comfortable taking those. What were you going to say there, Vote?
I lost it. So
okay.
Well, you're welcome to everyone.
So Jackson, tell me some more just what your thoughts are on Murray and where he's at in his development, because I think the way you either titled it or tweeted it was that people forget that he's a superstar. I mean, do you see him as like that caliber player? I mean, maybe.
I think the headline was something about like, why do people forget about him? And then I said that I think he'll be an all-star in the near future. And I just think the reason I'm high on him is there aren't a ton of guys who like that make those significant like improvements. Like 2 years ago, even like when he had that really good sophomore season, he was not a very good passer in my estimation. At least, like he was too conservative, he was erratic, he was slow hitting. Like he would see a read and then he would be closed and he'd still want to make it and he'd force it, or he just wouldn't make that pass. Like the Jokic pocket pass would be closed and he would just reset the offense and there'd be 12 seconds left already. And nowadays, like he's a pretty impressive live dribble passer with either hand. He's more willing and more daring as a passer. He's improved as a pull-up shooter in terms of both the volume and the efficiency pretty much every season, which is really impressive to me. And defensively, too, like leaps and bounds better, I feel like, at least from what I've seen. Obviously, I've seen a lot less than the four of you, but the three of you, excuse me.
It's better. It's definitely better.
But just like it's in just not even necessarily like playmaking, but just like he'll be on the weak side and the guy will they'll run a pick and roll and he'll tag the roller, like he'll make the play, or he'll rotate back to the weak side shooter, things like that. Like he's more anticipatory in terms of getting deflections and steals. So just those three key improvements are really encouraging me. Like those are notable improvements, not just like little things. And even like his ball handling too, like way more impressive creating space and advantage with his ball handling now than he was 2 years ago. Like, he's got the behind the back, the between legs, change direction stuff, the crossover. So just the rate of improvement I've seen the last couple of years, and he's only 23 still, has me very encouraged for where he could be when he's 26.
You touched on this in your piece, and I think part of the learning curve for Jamal is being an on-ball player, right, to increasingly more so. Now I'll admit I didn't watch a ton of him at Kentucky, but I understand him as sort of more of a scoring guard. Here in Denver, he's bringing the ball up the floor, he's initiating, he's got the ball in his hands a ton, he's making a lot of decisions. So he's improved, I think, in a lot of those realms. But I also think that contributes to that inconsistency you were describing before. I mean, I wonder if it's overthinking or still just sort of learning how to navigate that he has more jobs to do than just score in a Denver Nuggets uniform.
Yeah, he is interesting, and I do feel it's weird because I can't feel like anybody's. I wanted to say like this will be a really interesting playoffs for him. Like I want to see if he takes another leap. I know Harrison has a piece coming out here, I think tomorrow, about that very thing. Can he build off of last year's what was a very impressive for a playoff debut? It was very impressive, although defensively he had some weak moments. But as soon as you say something like that, you remember, oh yeah, the world is so different. This thing is all different. Like I don't know that we're going to judge Murray one way or another off of this playoffs. I mean, is that fair vote? I mean, do you feel like your opinions can change a whole lot based on this specific playoff setting?
I mean, it's tough because on one hand, playoff setting data means more than what you're seeing across 82 games when you're a team in Denver's position. On the other, to what I think you're getting at, I mean, how is this not all outlier data, So it's a tough thing to sort of navigate. But, I mean, if you're the Nuggets, like I think you really have to pay close attention to how he performs in this setting with those hypothetical decisions, big decisions looming in the summer.
We talked about this last week, Jackson, but I'm curious your opinion on this. Just let's assume all the Nuggets are available and healthy and once play starts. Sort of rank your top three most interesting Nuggets, like the ones that you think are the most, interesting for the team's success. It doesn't have to be in order of importance, just the ones that you're like, that's who I have my eye on.
Yeah, I think, the first two, it would just two that come to mind would be Gary Harris. I think he's someone that, I've seen a lot of praise from Nuggets fans and writers about his defense this year, and it popped me when I've watched him this year and writing about the Jamal Murray piece, especially on the ball. Can he be someone that is good enough defensively to handle some of those tougher assignments when the playoffs ramp up? And can we get some semblance of 2017-18 Gary Harris offensively? I know he's gone through stretches the last couple of years where you think he's kind of turning the corner and then it falls off again. So can you at least be a good enough offensive player to provide kind of that fourth or that third cog offensively that the Nuggets need? And then Millsap would be another one. I'm curious how kind of he fares offensively. I think he's a really interesting piece. I think a lot of times guys who are maybe good in percentages as shooters, can really be exploited in the playoffs. And I think Millsap is a guy who's developed a really impressive outside shot in the last few years, but isn't someone he doesn't have a particularly quick release, isn't necessarily some high volume guy. And so if teams are maybe playing off him more and they're doubling Jokic and maybe he goes through a lull or a tough stretch, or if he goes through a hot stretch, that can kind of swing a series maybe in the second round or even a first round. The third one, I don't know. It's tough to me. I think a lot of it depends on, who exactly is available. PJ Dozier is someone that I think impressed me a fair amount when I watched him. This year, it just seemed really impressive defensively. I didn't take a ton of notes on him or anything, but it just seemed like consistently when he was getting minutes,
Yeah,
I was
for sure.
I was internally going, oh, that was an impressive play from on the ball or a rotation for a steal. And did some stuff offensively too. That's pretty impressive. I know his G League numbers were pretty good as a scorer throughout his career. So he's someone who if he gets minutes, I'd be curious to see how he fares because he was impressive in the stuff I've seen this year.
Would you say that he plays with a lot of composure?
Unreal, Eric. Unreal. The name's already you already won. It's already a nickname. You already got it.
I don't know. You guys get asked questions. Why can't I ask a question?
Well, you actually talking about Millsap really intrigued me because I keep thinking about what the market inefficiency is going to be in this bubble. If you have 82 games, the best defenses, your top 4 defenses, the conference finalists their defenses are on point, generally speaking. You don't have sloppy defenses. Your offenses are usually running like a well-oiled machine at that point. I don't know if you're going to get there this year, just the way things are, or you'll get part of the way there. I don't know if the teams are going to be the 2014 Spurs level execution in this playoffs. So it makes me wonder, is there a market inefficiency? Is it defensive rotations are going to be bad, so teams that can force ball movement are going to have an advantage? Is it no team's going to move the ball well, so isolation-heavy teams are going to be well? What do you think, Jackson, is sort of a market inefficiency for this specific bubble tournament, if any? Yeah,
that's a fascinating question because it's something I've thought, to some degree about it in depth, since it's, since the NBA's, announced these plans to return. I do think Denver is a team that could benefit because a lot of their offense, especially, is this read and react thing. Jokic is so good with things, and I think they have so many impressive off-ball players. And I think a lot of the reads in the offense are, react based on the way you see the floor, especially off the ball, and that's what Jokic is, obviously, because that's what playmakers do. But I think it bodes well for a lot of teams that have isolation scores. I think is what I would say. So a team like I think the Clippers are a team that I wasn't super high on them during the regular season. I think they had some issues, but they have an awesome isolation scorer in Kawhi, and then if Paul George is fully back after his shoulder surgery and kind of what happened last year at the end of the year, those are two guys you can just give the ball and let them go to work. Similar kind of maybe the Bucks with Giannis and Middleton.
ISO scoring doesn't really have an off season. Like ISO scorers know how to do their thing no matter what's going on. So
so I think that'd be kind of something. Giannis obviously struggled against Toronto last year, but I don't think there's a defense, especially at least in the East, that is constructed anywhere close to last year's Raptors to stop him. So Middleton's been good this year on ISO and as a pull-up shooter. So I think teams that have ISO scorers and guys who can just throw the ball and they get a bucket, you don't need any creative sets that have to be remembered and trained and ingrained in your brain. I think are going to benefit the most. But it's tough because
for Denver because that's the one thing they really don't have. I mean, who's their best ISO scorer right now? Probably Will Barton.
Or Jamal.
Jamal.
I mean, I think it highlights the importance of some
It's probably
stuff
Jokic, honestly.
Jackson was writing about. I think overall you want to see Jamal's shot profile change, but it's still noticeable that as he's taken more tough pull-up jumpers as a point guard with the ball in his hands, he's gotten more efficient. So a tough bucket it's not the prettiest shot chart, but in a playoff setting, particularly this playoff setting, it could mean a lot.
Oh, totally. Guy, you want to fire up the overrated, underrated graphic? We're gonna. I think we're gonna wrap up today's show. We always put our guests on the hot seat because we have some basketball. They're basketball questions, Jackson, but they're also not. That's the rated graphic. I know we talked pre-show about rated, but we're doing the overrated, underrated for this one. Here it is, right here, guy. You got it. There it is. Look at that beautiful animation. There we go. All right, so. Jackson, we have a random list here. I'm going to start off on something that's near and dear to my own heart. Backyard bird watching. Where would you overrated or underrated?
Well, yeah.
Backyard bird watching. Oh man, the drum roll's on. I'm going to say underrated.
Where would you?
What I'm talking about.
Where would you say it's rated currently?
It's very low. It's
I think
extremely low.
it's a nice tranquil activity. You know, you just
so tranquil.
The weather's nice. You maybe
Sure,
65, 70 degrees. You got some shade. You got a nice drink in your hand. You're just watching some birds.
iced,
You're relaxing after a tough day. I think it's got its value that people don't realize. Me myself included, probably.
Yeah. Ensure.
Look, the people have talked too. So Jackson agrees. I agree. Pizza on your face agrees. I mean, everybody agrees here. All right, we're gonna go next one up. This is a fun one. Neowise the Comet. The comet currently you can see in the sky at night.
What's it called?
Neowise.
Yeah, there you go.
Neowise.
Yeah, Neowise.
I'm gonna say this comet in general. I think comets are overrated.
Yeah.
Wow.
Totally.
Bold take. I might
Totally
tweet this out.
overrated.
Holy shit.
Totally overrated.
I like that he didn't stop there. He said all comets are
All
overrated.
comets.
Why should this comet be any different? It's
Well,
what about
I
the comet
think
Hale-Bopp?
it's a cool idea in
my
theory.
favorite
You
one.
see this thing in the sky, but like when you see a comet in the sky, it's just mostly like a white streak. Like if you're getting an in-depth, close-up look at a comet, yeah, that's a different discussion. But just like watching a comet, I'm not overly enthused. But I can just watch a plane go by and see a white streak in the sky. That's my take on it.
That is a hot take. That's a spicy
That's a
five-pepper take right
five
there.
take for sure. I'm tweeting
So,
this
what
out.
about just celestial bodies in general? How do you feel? Like, is it just comets that?
I think star formations have
Squad.
a cool place. Like you look up in the sky and you
Sure.
see the Big Dipper, you see someone else with the
Okay.
the
So
stars
it's
connect
just
and
comets.
it makes a
Okay.
shape
It's
or
just
something. Then,
comets. Specifically
but maybe my grudge is
specifically
just for
comets.
comets at the
Their
moment. I'd
icy
have to think
form, the tail.
more
You know,
about it.
Do you guys remember on Game of Thrones when like the comet? It's in the first book, right, where the comet's there and everybody's trying to guess what it means, and it's a big thing. I feel like this comet appeared to welcome in the new era of Denver Nuggets dominance. That's kind of how I feel. I'm not, I'm just trying to read the celestial.
That's why
bodies
it
here.
appeared over Denver specifically. This
And
comet.
it's only Denver, nowhere else. All right, Jackson. Next one on the list: the month of July.
Month of July, overrated.
Whoa!
Wow, why?
Quick trigger.
Wow.
It's too hot for
Didn't
me.
even have to think about
I'm
it.
a
Didn't even have
Pacific
to think
Northwest
about
guy. It's 85, 99, 95 degrees for me. I don't have central cooling in my house. It's too hot for me. I don't like it. I can only go for runs or go work out outside at 8 in the morning or 11 at night, 10 p.m. at night. It's too much for me. I don't like July that much.
Jackson, if Comet Twitter comes for you, that's my bad. I just wanna-
Comment Twitter. We're gonna get him canceled by comment Twitter. I think July is properly rated because it has some real peaks. Some great camping. You got summer league. Like you get a little break from basketball, which could be.
I wasn't given a proper related option, so I can't. I think I was
honored the
more
game.
with that than overrated, but my hands were tied there. I had to disparage it or compliment it in some way. I couldn't be
Unbelievable.
neutral.
July is underrated. July is a great month.
All
It's
right.
been a rough July in Denver. It's
Well,
like
I mean,
98 degrees
if you
and
said
you can't go outside.
this July,
Yeah.
this July is quite overrated.
Every month this year has not been very great. All overrated. Next one up, LaMelo Ball.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go underrated here.
Oh wow, he's rated really high.
Wow.
He is, yeah. I mean, I do a decent amount of draft work, and I have him as my number one guy, and I don't think everyone else sees it that way. And I think especially mainstream, there's other guys competing for that spot, and to me, it's not necessarily a huge question. So that's why I would say underrated.
Really?
So hold on. Does Jackson prefer LaMelo Ball to July? The month of July?
And comets, quite frankly.
Well, I don't know what scale. I mean, if we're on the same scale, then if it's an underrated scale, then yeah. But there's got to be some.
I just want to know what we're talking about. I just want to know what we're talking about.
Would LaMelo Ball be?
Oh God, what is this even? What is the best month?
LaMelo is January. He's a January cold, miserable.
January's pretty.
I like October. Or maybe like that September 25th to October 24th. Like,
This
can we
is
get
so
a
specific.
Is that
can we just get
LaMelo?
30 days going here? I gotta.
You know what? That's a great take. Fall. That I'm with you. That is the best time of
We
year.
gotta
Yeah,
get
gotta
Patrick
get
in here.
Birdie.
He'll tell us what month, what number, what.
Oh, I know the colors and everything.
Yeah.
And he really is amazing with that. All right, the next one, Lonzo Ball, my guy.
Oh, wow.
Man, this is so tough. can I go properly rated? I'm gonna
Okay, all right.
All right,
I'm
we'll give you one.
gonna take one cop out here. I think he's that's fair. I got the Infuego, I got the mild. I'm just gonna. I think most people realize how good he is nowadays, especially how well he paired with Zion, and the jumper was awesome this year. So I think he's about properly nowadays on whatever scale you're using, NBA Twitter or ESPN or
Vote was clearly
general mainstream.
disgusted
So
by your take. He just saw
the
himself
Ball
right
family
out of it.
apparently is not a good subject for Brendan Miller.
Yeah. So who's going to be better, LaMelo or Lonzo, in your opinion?
I would say I would bank on LaMelo having a higher ceiling.
Really?
I think he's just. I just struggle to see Lonzo being it. I think he's going to be good. He's already good. I think he could be a top 30, top 25, maybe 40-ish guy at his peak. I could see LaMelo being a top 12, top 10 guy.
Wow, that high on him. That's really surprising.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of LaMelo, but but I think it's impressive. Both guys.
How low is that LaMelo Ball floor? I mean, like how
Ooh, yeah.
people are very
Yeah,
impressed
that's a
with the
good
peak,
question.
but how realistic is he getting near that?
I'm also the belief that I think his floor is higher than most would expect. I think it's tough for someone who's that smart and is 6'7" and one of the best passers in the world to just not be somewhat impactful. I think he'll have some issues. Yeah, I mean, his floor could be someone who struggles to make spot up threes and is never really puts on enough weight and struggles a lot on the ball and off the ball defensively. Even though I think he does some impressive stuff off the ball. I think there's definitely a concerning floor, but I'm pretty impressed by his passing and the blend of IQ and size with that passing. I have a tough time just not seeing that be somewhat valuable. I'd be surprised if he busts and isn't someone who at least carves out a long-term role in the NBA.
So here's kind of an abstract one for you, and it goes along with LaMelo and Lonzo, but proper shooting form.
Oh, proper shooting form. Overrated.
I love this take. That's a great take. I'm a big fan of this one.
One of the
As
best
is the
big man
crowd.
shooters in the NBA right now, Jaren Jackson Jr., shoots the ball like he just picked up a basketball 4 days ago.
God, yeah, that is
Like-
an ugly form.
I just think too many people, like, we're not shot doctors. We don't work full time in training and basketball training. Like, I think if it works and you have enough positive indicators, like, by all means, like, you do what works. So if it doesn't work, then you adjust it. But I think too many of us, get bogged down in what it looks like in the aesthetics and don't focus on the results.
It sounds like you're trying to bump up your Lonzo rating with that explanation. shot form being.
It is like baseball though. Like if you're hitting 320, your swing's fine. Like I don't care what it looks like. Don't change your swing.
Well,
So you're a big Tebow fan then, huh?
Oh my god, yeah. For real.
Well, that didn't work. That's the issue. That didn't work. So there's...
Yeah. It is true, but I actually think there's a lot to this. Like there is, I think, proper ways to teach shooting because there's like a consistent, repeatable, like, okay, this works if you can do it. But there are guys that have also learned how. So many of your great shooters taught themselves how to shoot and shot really, really well with a little bit of a weird form. So
like Sean Marion had the worst.
Well, I mean, that's
form
not
ever.
the exact example I would put, but
I mean,
even
he
Larry
shot
Bird
well.
had a little weird thing. Jokic has a little weird thing going on with the shot. Reggie Miller had a weird looking shot. Like a lot of guys, like really, really high level shooters, didn't. But I will say this: a perfect shooting form is Like Klay Thompson, I can just watch him shoot jumpers in an empty gym. Same goes for Mike Miller. Mike Miller, I could just watch them shoot because it's so beautiful.
Underrated in this regard, didn't quite translate to the games. Juancho Hernan-Gomez.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
Warm-up
he had a
player. Really,
You know,
repeatable.
you had a pretty
translated.
sweet stroke was Tyler Lydon.
Okay. This show's no fun anymore.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually a fan favorite.
Man, you know the thing about Tyler Lydon, because you're right, he had a great form, and I remember watching him in summer league just not shoot the ball wide open. It's like it was the weirdest thing how he would never shoot the ball.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you're a great shooter. This is the one thing you can do. All right, the last one, and the people will. This one will really get you canceled if you screw this one up, Jack. You got to really think careful about this one. Justin Timberlake.
Just wondering
JT.
Underrated.
Wow, you still?
I think that's the right answer. I'm
You
really
think
not
JT can still hit new heights?
That's
I
not
don't
what
know
it
about
means.
that, but I mean, his peak was on. He could dance. He could sing. He could star in SNL. He could. Yeah, he was funny. I mean,
JT's
he was
comedic chops are underrated, bro.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. It's a funny guy.
he had a bunch of different areas of the entertainment biz. Very impressive.
Listen,
Celebrity status.
He's also with Jessica Biel, which is dumb.
Yeah.
That's definitely
far be it for me to argue with all these great points. I just want to know, like, are we going to get more from JT? Are you saying that even though his heights were so high that he still wasn't given the respect required? I just want to understand what to expect here from JT.
No, I'm just talking. I'm talking peak. I'm not. He's done what he's need to do. I don't expect any new groundbreaking material from Justin Timberlake. So
he's like got
that's
that
fine.
childhood star thing going on where I don't think he's a real person. Like he's probably not fun to hang out with. Do you guys remember his Punked episode? He was like really kind of annoying in it.
So I've met him. I've actually been in a room with him.
Whoa, this is a real story.
Whoa. Bury the lead.
Story time here.
I'll just put it simply. He's the weirdest motherfucker I've ever met.
Yeah,
I like him.
Yeah, he's an interesting hang. He doesn't operate or take up space like other human beings. That's the best I could put it.
I did not come into today's episode expecting to get a personal anecdote about JT.
I always hope I will, but you can't expect something like that. You'll just be disappointed most times.
Height for Bol Bol is underrated. I'm telling you guys. It really has been the thing that has lifted my spirits the most over the last 2 weeks.
It's made you tolerable.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
That's true. I wouldn't either.
I am really excited for it. Jackson, thanks for spending this hour with us, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This was a lot of fun talking nonsense, talking serious stuff, and everything in between. That's my type of basketball discourse. So
there you go. His article, "Why Is Everyone Forgetting About Jamal Murray?" It's up on the Step Back, and if you click on it, you get a bonus of TJ McBride, a video of it playing directly above the. I don't know if that's a bonus or I don't know if that's a feature or a bug, but
depends who you ask.
I have it up right here in front of me, and there's TJ McBride, and he's nodding his head. I can tell he's like sharing some hyperboles.
That doesn't sound right.
Shouts to the homie TJ. Thanks so much, Jackson, for hopping on. Tomorrow, guys, tomorrow's show is a preview show. You guys excited about that? Tomorrow's show, we're going to preview a basketball game. I can't wait for it. Really excited. If you're tuning in for the first time in a while, don't forget, hop on your phone that you're watching this on. Hit subscribe on iTunes. Leave a rating and review. It's going to help us out. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Adios. Oh, I always get right here at this good part. So gentle. Tickling the ivories.